right here. When your papers coming out? You're better. Yeah, but we got the time. I was about to say Luke, but you know, because you know they were. So what I have it is facing towards the Hillside side. No, I have it facing that way. Council President. Council President. You gotta ask her if it's okay. All right. Council President.
If I get on 11. Like this 10 bucks. Who gave me this, by the way?
I gave it to you.
That's your special. Thank you.
That was special. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You never know.
Call to order.
I did. Statement of public notice.
This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting was sent to the Union County local source and the Star-Ledger. In addition, copies of this notice were posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, on the town hall doors, and filed in the office of the township clerk. Notices on the bulletin board have remained continuously posted. Proper notice having been given, the township clerk, Joyner.
Present.
House. Epps.
Here.
Proclamation, February 2024 Senior Citizens Birthday. Whereas the Township of Hillside senior citizens are an integral and highly valued part of the total community who represent an abundance of talent and skill and have much to share with all worthy goals and independence in their life for all of us. Now, therefore, we, the Township Council of the Township of Hillside, would like to recognize our senior citizens and wish all of you a very happy birthday. Doris Dufek, Padma Kumar Talathi, Celeste Zach, Rose Renata, in the Township of Hillside who have celebrated their birthday in the month of February. Happy birthday.
Councilman Firstein, can you read January birthday proclamation, please?
Whereas the Township of Hillside senior citizens are an integral and highly valued part of the total community who represent an abundance of talent and skill and have much to share with the generations, and whereas Hillside senior citizens have worked and contributed their efforts throughout their lifetime to the achievement of worthy goals and independence in their later years, and now contribute their time and experience to enrich the human experience for all of us. Now, therefore, we, the Township Council of the Township of Hillside, would like to recognize our senior citizens and wish all of you a very happy birthday. Alberto Cavallo, Barbara King, Queen King, Gilbert McClammy, Carmen Lissa Gomez, George, happy birthday, senior citizens of Hillside. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for the approval of meeting minutes for January 16, 2024 and February 6, 2024?
Motion. Second.
Any questions?
Yes. Firstein.
Yes.
Hyatt is excused.
Yes.
Saxon.
Yes.
Rios.
Yes.
Epps.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Payment of bills, February 21st, 2024. Can I get a motion?
Motion. Second.
Any questions? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Banano.
Yes.
Furstein.
Yes.
Hyatt excused. Joyner.
Yes.
Saxon.
Yes.
Rios.
Yes.
Epps.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Ordinances. First one is that I'm pulling the first ordinance. Number 1, that's being pulled. Go to number 2, 024-05, first reading introduction, and ordinance establishing chapter 30.
So, Council President, I think that will be the actual chapter where this ordinance will go.
Okay,
Will be amended, before the second reading.
okay,
My assistant did not fill in the proper chapter for the, within the code.
okay. I'm sorry. Now before I go into that, let me get a motion to make all these items action items. There's only one item for ordinance. Make all these items, I'm sorry, all these items and ordinance action items.
Motion. Sorry, what did you say?
All the items are ordinances, so I'll make them action items. Need a motion, I had a motion by,
Rios.
Rio, need a second.
Second.
Okay, by Joyner.
Any questions?
So, David, and 5, as action items, I'll make all the other ones action items. So that'll be 3 and 4 as action items.
I don't understand the request. So action items mean we're just taking it and actually vote it up or down one way or the other.
So do we have an option to table any of these items or no?
You do,
Okay.
yes, you do, yes. Mhm.
Understood.
Yes. All right, so I have a motion to have a second. Roll call, you only roll call that, right? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Back to ordinance number 1 has been pulled, ordinance number 224-05, ordinance establishing the House Music Festival Committee. Get a motion? Get a second?
Second.
Can you explain a little bit what this is for?
Yes, I'll let the township attorney explain, and I'll come in and I'll also let Councilwoman Saxon have a word too.
Council President, this is, based upon our conversation, based upon my word, I welcome Councilwoman Saxon's further input, but that was my understanding as to the drafting of this particular ordinance.
Correct.
So, this is an event that has been done in the past. Usually, it's been done at the recreation center. This time we're going to co-sponsor with, the Home Festival, which is the alumni for the House Music Festival. And we're gonna work together to bring our community together. This is something that is definitely needed, in terms of the funding of it.
So, Council President, this is just establishing the committee for this?
Just establishing the committee,
Have the members who are in the committee?
In terms of the funding, who funds it? What's the general amount for this type of event?
So right now, it looks like the budget is between maybe $15,000 to $17,000 for this event. But you also have to take into account that you have vendors that will be putting a vendor. That will also go into that account. So the numbers really should add up really quickly. We're hoping that at least our township will be able to at least sponsor maybe $5,000 of the 15 to 17,000. And if not, we will continue to seek other sources. But this is an event that is definitely going to happen. The wheels are already spinning on this, and we just want to create the committee so that we'll be able to come back and have a report for the council. And we're also going to have some meeting minutes as well for you all to be able to have, be able to see exactly what's going on, word for word, who's doing what, and which is save the date. Work on that. Right now, we're just trying to establish the committee so that we'll be able to move forward.
And is this committee different than the Arts Committee? I guess,
Yes.
is it part of that, or is it
No.
totally separate?
It's a totally different
does the arts have its own budget?
I would assume so. I'm not a part of the arts council.
Do we want to merge them, or
It's not necessary, because
well, if it's extra funding, I'm saying, does it make sense to have?
what exactly is it that you're looking to do that's in the arts council?
Can you run these events within the arts? Do you need a whole other committee for this, or can you run what you're doing within
Yes, we definitely. This is an alumni. We're just collaborating with an organization that's already in place right now. This has nothing just specifically to do with the township at all. This is something that's been taking place for years. So we're collaborating with them. We're co-sponsoring them. Now, when you're saying the arts,
We haven't done anything under the arts council.
Who does the event at Conant every year? Isn't that part of?
That was strictly under the county. The council had no part to that. We were trying to be a part of this, so it could be more effective. Ideally, we wanted it to stay at the rec center, but as Councilman Saxon mentioned, we've outgrown that venue. So we wanted to be a part of it, but initiate this committee to make sure we had some input as to how the funds are being spent, and maybe even possible we can. Any other questions from councilman? All right, seeing none, roll call.
Banana,
Yes.
Feuerstein,
Yes.
Hyatt excused, Joyner,
Yes.
Saxon,
yes.
Rios,
Yes.
Ordinance, public hearing and final adoption, ordinance to. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Banana,
Yes.
Feuerstein,
Yes.
Hyatt excused, Joyner,
Yes.
Saxon,
Yes.
Rios,
Yes.
Epps.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Ordinance, public hearing and final adoption, ordinance amending. Oh, I apologize. I have to open this up for, public hearing for the municipal budget. Alright, floor is open for the public for any comments in reference to this, the last one we just read. Municipal budget and appropriation limits to establish a cafe.
Okay, first of all, just wonder if I can get an explanation of that, what that is all about. CAP is all about and what this ordinance entails.
Good evening. We do this ordinance every year. You're permitted by local budget law to increase your appropriations by 3.5% over the prior year. So this, if necessary, to increase the appropriations by 3.5% over last year's budget.
The overall appropriation, the tax increase was included in something. That wasn't what was the case previously.
It was last year we did 3.5% as well, the year before that.
Okay, but I'm saying that was included in the tax part of it, the 3.5.
Not necessarily, no.
So where's the money coming?
We haven't presented the budget yet, but this is just gives us flexibility when we do the budget.
Oh, this is for the 2024 budget,
Correct.
okay, which is due in March,
March.
okay, and are you, well, I guess you can answer that, whether you're almost finished with that.
We're still
percentage.
meeting with departments about what their needs are for 2024.
Okay, and the 3.5 would include any particular extra expenses that have not already, it would include,
Increases over the 23 budget.
okay, but what would it entail?
Well, we have contractual increases. We have CBAs that are in effect right now. That
See,
require
I'm sorry,
contractual agreements with our employees.
so the budget would help to fund that.
Pension, increases in healthcare, things like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the public?
Any kind of question?
No, just on this particular. Alright, seeing none, motion to close public hearing. Get a second to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chapter 157, fire prevention.
Final adoption.
I'm sorry, final adoption.
No, we're gonna need public hearing.
Motion to adopt the municipal budget appropriation limits to establish a cap. Get a motion?
Motion.
Get a second? Get a second?
Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Banana.
Yes.
Furstein.
Yes.
Hyde excused. Joyner.
Yes.
Saxon.
Yeah.
Rios.
Yes.
Epps.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion for public hearing, open for public hearing, and ordinance amending chapter 157 fire prevention, section 2, fees, subsection, regulations, fees, section. Get a motion open. All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, the floor is open for a public hearing in reference to the final adoption amending the fire prevention.
From what to what? From what figure to what's the other figure?
It's in
In terms of
Can
lights
you hear
and
me now?
working
Yes, now, can you hear me?
better.
It's in the body of the ordinance, the fire department did the research to compare rates in the area. We haven't increased the rates since 2015, so this is to get our rates in step with other municipalities in the area. That's basically it, just the types of fees that we receive for ambulatory service. We're just getting those increased in line with other municipalities in the area.
You're saying it's for ambulatory services
Yes,
only?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the public in reference to this ordinance? Seeing none, I take a motion to fire prevention, section 2, fees, subsection, resolution fee schedule.
Motion.
Get a second?
Second.
Any questions from the council members? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Banano.
Yes.
Furstein.
Yes.
Hyde excused. Joyner.
Ordinance public hearing and final adoption, 024-03, the bond ordinance providing for the construction of thereof and authorizing issuance of $4,190,476 bonds or notes of townships to finance part of the cost thereof and repealing and replacing bond ordinance number 023-12 for public hearing, please.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, this ordinance is open for public hearing to the public. Anybody in the public want to talk on this, please come to the mic.
Not quite clear. Matty Holloway, 141 Daly Avenue. I know the last meeting, we were saying that we started out with approximately $4 million for the library. We didn't get as much as we had anticipated from the state. I think we got maybe about $3 million some dollars from the state. And the cost for the library that was originally projected has changed to approximately $12 million. So does this calculate this change from you changing the bonding and authorizing this $4,190,474 bonds of notes? Is this a new bond in reference to the construction of the public library to try to make up for that $12 million?
This is a bond that was, or an ordinance that was approved last August for the repair of Ramsey Avenue. But the state stepped in and repaired that street, or they're repairing the street now. So we're amending the ordinance from Ramsey Avenue repair to the library to cover those extra costs.
Is that a prudent thing to do? Do you think, because Ramsey Avenue still probably has a question mark, and you're taking money that was appropriated for that, and then you're moving it over to something else? I'm just wondering how prudent that is, and how.
Well, the state said that they would cover the costs, and they're doing the repairs now.
Did they say the amount of the cost that they would cover?
I'd imagine it's what we estimated it would be, but they haven't shared that with us now.
What, shouldn't you wait until you find out from the state what they're going
Well,
to do?
they're repairing the area that we did this bond to repair. So whatever, how many 100 feet this bond is for, they're covering that complete area.
But you said they didn't say the amount of it.
We're not privy to the state's bids and things like that.
So what happens if they don't cover the amount that you're trying to bond for?
Well, this was for the emergency repair only, so the emergency repair is being handled.
So you have an unknown entity here, from what I'm hearing, and that's the state part of it. But yet, from what you already have, and then appropriated for the library.
I would say it's unknown.
You said you don't know what the state is gonna appropriate, so isn't that an unknown?
We know that the state is repairing what we did the ordinance for $4 million. So that area,
The state goes in there and sees that it's not the 3 feet or whatever, that is the problem is more pronounced or more involved, and they look for the township to pick up that loss.
me being selfish, I believe that this is a problem from inception when this was constructed in 1973. Interstate 78 was being built, and I believe that
I believe that this is the case.
well, it's been an issue since 1973 when it was done. I have the engineering reports.
Do you think we need to get any further information on this before this is voted on?
No.
Well, as a taxpayer, we need to take another look at this before you start reappropriating. Thank you.
Any other questions? I'm sorry.
Alvina Mitchell, 1431 Maple Avenue. And I guess I have some questions. You know, with the library, it seems like the cost keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. When we're done with this, how much is this gonna actually cost the taxpayers of Hillside?
Increase from last year to the taxpayers. This ordinance is already in place, it's not a new ordinance. So we had the original, and just a brief history. 2018, the state said there was money available for libraries. We applied in 2018, we were not awarded. I think we applied 1 or 2 more times, we weren't awarded. Finally, in early 2022, we were awarded, and by that time, the prices skyrocketed. In 2018, the cost was estimated to be $8 million. We came up with 4, the state came up with 3.9. But again, we were awarded in 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. When we were finally awarded, this is the cost of the library.
But I'm saying, what is that, like in dollars? You know, we keep hearing the 4 million. You said that we originally got?
Yes.
Okay, but I'm just saying, when we are done with this, how much more is that gonna be? Like even, all right, with whatever we got, funding that we already have, how much of it are we gonna have, the residents gonna have to pay in?
It's already accounted for. We did the ordinance in 18.
It's all accounted for?
Yes. It's not a new ordinance. These are all old ordinances.
Okay.
So none of these, this doesn't increase anything.
Okay, now another question, is that now?
We did the ordinance last year. We have not funded the ordinance yet. This new ordinance, or this ordinance from 2023, it's not funded yet. If we go out for a bond, that's possible, but it's a note right now. So we're just paying interest once we do go out.
Yeah, because I,
County taxes, Board of Education taxes.
oh, I understand all that, but and the school has been minimal. So it's right, you know, the municipality is changing all these taxes, that's why I was asking.
Well, the municipal taxes make up about 40% of your tax bill. The other 60% is school and county. Just to be clear.
Right, okay, thank you.
Public hearing on this. Second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt ordinance public hearing and final adoption, bond ordinance 24-03. Get a motion?
Before we vote, I have a lot of questions. Did you want to carry out the motion
Let
first?
me get the motion and then second, then the questions. You get a motion?
Motion.
We get a second?
Second.
Questions from the council, Councilwoman Saxon?
Thank you, Council President. So I have a major concern about this particular ordinance. Originally, it was 2018 that the library was supposed to be built. I hear a phone, can you please hold? $8 million that would have been the final cost for the library. Now we are at $12 million. That is an additional $4 million that we have to now spend for a library. 2018 for the $8 million. I have a couple of questions before you answer, Glenn. And for $12 million for a 17,000 square foot library, it just doesn't make sense at all. It's not enough space. We're asking to utilize $4 million from the Ramsey Avenue project that is now being funded by the state. There's a big way to utilize for the community center, the senior center, and we can actually build up. We have the space for it, and I think that those funds would be better utilized for those particular projects. The community center, we need to start actually building up. I think we've outgrown the space for the senior center. There's a number of upgrades that needs to be done there. So when we're gonna put two rooms downstairs, and then it's just gonna be an entrance. So the majority of the space would be on the second floor. I didn't see an elevator at all. That's a problem. The thing is that may need to go to the second parking spaces. It actually would be. Me personally, I didn't like the renderings. If they were very, very vague, and I didn't even see the bathrooms on there. So I think, to me, it looks like it was kind of thrown together so that we could get to this particular moment right now where we're going to do a final adoption. I would love to have an upgraded library, but however, because of from my understanding, it would only be utilized for a women's locker room for the police department and a holding cell. That's not good enough. That's not good enough for me. So I have a major problem with the cost of this, and in all the houses all over again, we should be utilizing that space really for parking so that we can prevent all the people that are taking the buses to New York from parking in front of people's homes for, 8-10 hours a day, taking up their parking space. So again, I am in favor of remodeling the library that we have, but it's just not for $12 million.
So, when I had a question, so we got a grant for this part of this building of the library, right?
Yes, so in 2018, the state said to all municipalities in New Jersey, we have library money. You have to prove that you have, well, in the original application, we put in that we would build a new library. To change that at this point, we're just using the grant. So that's why we're sticking with those plans. To amend it in any way jeopardizes the funding.
Correct. So what happens to that funding if we, right?
We did bond for the other $4 million, so we wouldn't have access to that $3.9 million, and we just have two ordinances.
So while we're twiddling our thumbs, if you will, debating whether or not the community needs a new library, we might lose everything.
That is correct. And the other reason for the library is because the police department is out of compliance with the AG guidelines as far as its egress and construction and how the cells are. So that's why we also build a rebuild library.
And how will we remodel, and I'm probably going to call Ms. Blue up here in a second to talk on this, how will we remodel this library? Is that even salvageable at this point? Because I understand when you get rain, I'll call Ms. Blue to speak on that.
Well, the application was to build a new library, not to rebuild the old library.
Any questions from the council member?
Council President, I just wanted to address one thing. Councilman Vice President Rios, the email that you sent.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the state sent it out, and we got approved it last year. And how many times? But, 2018, they submitted for the funding, it wasn't approved. Then because of COVID and because of the increase of costs, they had to go back for another round of approval, right? So it's been stuck with the state because every library that applied for this grant has to get reapproved again by the state.
So also in the email that you sent out, it said if there's
Original amount that was approved for is over 10% because of costs and because of COVID, everything went up. So that's why for the last, say, year and a half, 2 years, we're waiting for the new approval, which just came. So now we're at this separate process.
but the state needed to approve it before it got to this table.
Correct.
Has that been done?
Yes.
Any other questions, council members?
Yes, Council President.
Councilman Banano?
Do we have an accounting of how the bond money has been spent thus?
Engineering and design costs.
Okay. And how much is left on that amount that we were allowed to use?
Just so council knows, my system crashed this week, so I couldn't bring the reports tonight. But I would say it's
Thank you.
And stay along those lines, but while you mentioned that, so if we halt this project now, we just lost that money, and we still have to pay that bond money back,
yeah.
correct?
The state wants us to ensure that we have the money to complete the library. That's what this ordinance is all about tonight. We don't want to delay that any further, or we jeopardize the funding.
Any other questions from the council members?
Okay, just a couple of things here. First, I know that Councilman, Vice President Councilman Rios had worked very long and hard on this project, and I took a poll of as many people as I could in the past, since our last, kind of surprising for me, because I figured it wasn't being used so consistently, but people said if there was a new library, people would enjoy that, and their kids would enjoy it, and we could have more use out of it. So with that being said, I do think that the consensus I got from the constituents was that the library would be a good. The question that I come to, and
I don't think it's a hard deadline right now because, again, they expire when the project is done.
so they've been good with us. We're not under a time crunch necessarily from the state.
It doesn't have to be done by June.
Okay, good. Are we? So we're not funded by them either yet. Or
We do have the awards to the grant.
okay, so it's available for you. We don't have to wait for anything else. It's ready to go.
Correct.
Okay. I wanted to talk about Ms. Holloway's concerns because I was thinking about that a little bit. We mentioned that the sinkhole project is still ongoing, as far as I understood.
Correct.
I'm going to get a little nitty gritty, so if I don't know the answers, it's okay. I just want to try to figure this out. What I'm concerned about is that my limited understanding is that the state is fixing the immediate problem of the sinkhole. Now, it could be that they're going to fix that and that's it. And I don't know if the area around it had this issue. Does the state sign off that only the work they did is now approved, or the area leading up to and around the highway is okay also, do you know?
I'm not sure what we can get the state to guarantee, but they are fixing the emergency, which will be funded with before.
Right.
As far as exploring the entire length of that pipe under 78, I believe that's a state issue because, again, that leads to property that's not ours.
So that was sort of my concern a little bit, was that if we fix the immediate problem, and in the next 6 months or a year or 3 years, the problem exacerbates, not necessarily in the immediate area, but 100 feet away, we've now moved any potential money.
They say, hey, we thought you guys fixed this.
But they may say we're only fixing the immediate problem, and we're not responsible for everything that happens in the town.
I've got a report from 2013 from an engineer that when they built 78 and they built that pipe, they put it over top of a stream. So I'm not an engineer, but I think that's the origin of the problem. Shouldn't that have been diverted at the source, or how was that actually built? So I believe the onus is on them. If it's township property and they force our hand, I guess we'll have to fund it, but we're fixing what is now the township's issue, or they're fixing whatever the township issue is now.
Right, and I guess the worry is that down the road, and I don't know when that is, but are we almost shooting ourselves in the foot too quickly? Then the taxpayers are getting hit every which way when maybe they didn't have to be, and maybe it's not the full $4 million, maybe we keep some back, I don't know. I just can't imagine the state is signing off that that the whole area is good. And if it's like you said, it was built on that stream, the chances are not small that there might be another issue.
Yeah, I think now we have to grasp of the history, make sure it's done right. Again, 78 is federal property, that's not our property.
Right, but we're so close.
We're so close, and we fixed what was our immediate issue.
Right, so are they fixing an area that's within 50 feet of what they're fixing, or are they guaranteeing a certain amount of space?
They're fixing the immediate problem when we did the $4 million ordinance for.
Right, so is that 100 feet, is it 200, I don't know.
Yeah, the exact footage, I don't have the report in front of me, but they're fixing what we funded last year.
However, from a little bit further, to me it would be a little bit, we'd have a lot to answer for. We didn't have any emergency money to cover that, if and when that happens. That was just a concern I'm kind of thinking about. Let's go to the tax ramifications for the constituents. So if I'm understanding it right, we budgeted for everything so far, so no one's getting.
It's 2018.
Okay, so now that once we fund this one, once we get this bond passed, do we know what the ramifications of?
And then do bonds every 3 years. So we do a note for this first, let's say the interest for the year is $100,000. That's what we pay for this year. In 3 years, when we do the actual general obligation bond, that's when we talk about the.
So then net at the end of the day, after you factor in the funding and everything else, like, is there a dollar amount that the citizens will say, I'm happy to pay for a little bit of a tax increase because we got a beautiful brand new library? Like, what is that number?
Well, I would go back to the COLA votes we did earlier tonight. So that gave us the capability of appropriating $1.4 million in extra funds. That, say, $100,000 I was talking about would be part of that. It gives us room to budget for that. So that would be the immediate effect of it. What I'm talking about is when we do a general obligation bond. That's when we start paying principal and interest, and that's when it has tax ramifications. But this is just a note right now.
Feel that difference?
When we did ordinance in 2018, we went out for general obligation bonds in 2019. Then we did ordinances in 2020, 2021, and then we did a general obligation bond interest this year, and then next year we have other outstanding notes. I would put them all together.
So you can rebond it, and then that way you can keep doing interest every year, basically, without paying principal. Okay. Once this passes, how soon till the project or till the money comes in?
20 days after this passes,
So
we can go out for the fund.
So it'll be quick.
Yes.
Okay. Are there other capital projects that are coming that we need to be careful of or maybe conservative about?
I believe someone mentioned boilers at the last meeting, so.
I'm going on.
So that's fair enough. Anything like bigger capital projects, the streets,
Well, right now, as far as streets,
once the project is funded, are the vendors already approved for everything and it's ready to go? They just
no, we have to
We'll
do.
start the whole process of getting vendors.
Yeah, right now we have the architect and the engineer. We would have to do a bid for the construction.
Okay. So that could take a little time. in theory.
Yes.
Are there any parameters in the state grant that we need to know about that can only be used for the library? Are there, maybe the attorney has a copy of what are the parameters that the money can be used for?
Well, just generally speaking, a grant, when you would give a grant, you have to use the grant that you apply for.
So I guess to compound my question, and maybe I'll ask it directly, if we use the grant towards the library, and then we want to put additional money on top of that for an addition on the building, that won't impact the fact that we're getting a grant for this amount. We can continue, as long as it's being used for the library, then it's okay to use.
Yeah, that's correct, and we do have a trust fund for the library now, so we can take contributions or whatever we need for the library and go through that.
So to help out the rec center, make the rec center a little bit more of a library function, use it towards making it a library, and then build on top. Phase 2 would be making it a nicer, bigger rec center. Is that possible?
I think best case scenario, we get a big donor that contributes to the trust fund, and then
Guidelines, are we allowed to use, as long as that money is being used according to what they say, then maybe we can build on that in any way that we see fit. I want to make sure I understand.
Well, the grant money can only be used for the construction of a new library. We can't use any of that for.
So let's use it, right, so let's say we use it for a building, let's say the rec center now becomes the library with these funds. Phase 2 becomes, we're making this now, we're adding a wing for the rec center.
No.
Possible? Why?
The grant money is only for the construction of the library. It's not for any additional project. It's just for the construction of a new library.
So
It's
once
not,
we- okay.
it's not to do an addition for any other building. So we can only use the grant money.
Okay, I think that answers my questions. Again, I think there's been, from the public that I've seen, a positive vibe towards this library. There's been a lot of interest, more than I expected, and I think it's a good thing. I think some of these questions raise a little bit of concern, and does that impact this or not, and we want to consider
I
that.
definitely agree to table it, because we have a number of questions. If that's okay with Council President.
But I just don't know if it's worse to vote it down versus tabling for later.
I think the state is waiting for us to approve this so that we can move forward to show that we're serious about getting this done. Granted, they were late getting us the money, but now we want to prove that we're on the same page and continue forward with this plan.
So I did, before I let the Director Blue and the Mayor speak in reference to this, I did have a question. So the construction project to fix the Ramsey Avenue project, the bridge, the state has agreed to take care of that, right, completely?
Yes.
Right.
Take care of what we needed for the library now.
Right, I'm saying, why can we not use that for the library, as opposed to us having it sit somewhere waiting for something to happen on Ramsey Avenue?
If an ordinance has to have a purpose, to just have this sitting there in case something happens with Ramsey and two.
It makes more sense to utilize it for some benefit from which the library at this point, as opposed to holding it. I don't even know where we're holding it at, waiting for something to happen on Ramsey Avenue. And if something happens on Ramsey Avenue, with the state already taking over this project and doing the project, I God forbid that they would say they're not responsible for the work that they've done. I'm a little confused as to why the township would be responsible for something that the state has said on record that they're responsible for this project. So we're just going to hold money waiting for a miscue for the state. It doesn't make any sense to me. But in any rate, I don't know what questions need to be answered tonight, and I don't know what comes with the confusion all of a sudden in reference to this library. But again, the constituents I pose are anxiously waiting for this library to speak first in reference to this, and I have Director Blue speak also in reference to the library. Mary, you got the mic at this time.
Thank you, Council President. So as you all know, we talked about this library. Can you hear me? A win-win situation for the township. The police department a couple of years ago talked about several issues, in that we don't have diversity and inclusion for the police department because we don't have lockers for women who are police officers. We are our police department. The original plan for the township in the basement was a cell block. If you look at how the back of the town hall is formulated, the cell block where the library is. Behind the library is also the shooting range. The library is also heavily flooded, and it's not conducive for our community. It really isn't. The basement of town hall really should be for the cell block. It should be for the purposes of our police department. It should be for a locker room. It should be for their weight training, all of those things. It provides a better scenario for our community. Libraries of the 21st century, which is what we presented in our State of the Township, it's not just books. It is podcasts for the community in that. Because there are things that our systems, our school systems aren't providing. And we need to close the gap in that. It's not causing blame. We need to have this partnership with our schools and our kids and our community. And the library is the cornerstone. It's the cornerstone. You have a library, you have the school system, and that's what creates government. And when we lose sight of that, that's when we actually lose as a community. And I think that as far as creating a new system where we have technology in the basement, it does not deserve to be in the basement. Think about that. Education in the basement. It is the #1 institution even before schools. We need to support this. The state has already said that they're going to support Ramsey Avenue. And you guys, that's the only reason it exists. Most people don't use Ramsey Avenue in the Hillside Township. The only reason that road exists is to support I-78. The state of New Jersey has an obligation to make sure that that's to the best of what we want. No. I would ask for more. I want more. We deserve more because the pillars of 78 exist on that road. 78 can't exist without that road. And that's what people need to understand. So to have us sacrifice our library and our kids and our community for that road is unconscionable. I can't do this work without you. I have done this work. I have had these conversations. But when we sit and we say we're not going to forward our monies towards the cornerstones of our community, which is the library and our schools and making sure our kids and our people that bring people together, to sit here and say that we're not going to support that, that's a crime. And not to mention, you have the Veterans Memorial Library. They have been on News 12 saying that Hillside is one of the few municipalities that don't have a Veterans Memorial in the state of New Jersey. So when we talk about what veterans live and die for, it's for our life and our freedom and our education to make sure that that library takes place. I'm an APUS teacher. I will always be an educator. Always. But I'm asking you to transfer those monies into this project because it's worth it. It's worth it. It's an investment in our community, in the education of our kids. So yes, if we're going to turnkey the money that we've been expending and wasting, people who have not serviced this community, they have not. We need to make a stand today and say, you know what? The state of New Jersey said they were going to take care of this road under I-78. We have already bonded for this money. Construction costs increase, and that's why it didn't happen. Well, guess what? We have already approved the funds to make it happen. Why not do what we need to do for our kids? Why not do what we need to do for people like you and me? Why not? It'll be a beautiful thing that we have done as mayor and council for the township of Hillside. So by not transferring those funds, we will be doing a disservice to our community. It's not about me. I'm one person of 23,000 people. I am one person. And I implore you as the council to help me make Hillside a better place. Make Hillside the place that everybody wants to live. And a library, a state-of-the-art 21st century library, that's an attractive. Just think about that. Think about that. It's one of the things that will make people want to live here, come here, stay here, and know that their government is investing in them. Don't discount that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. About the library?
Good evening, Council. Crystal Blue, Director of the Hillside Public Library. Thank you, Mayor, for your getting that done right now. And so I just, so it is important.
Anything for Director Blue? Can I have a sit down?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Director Blue.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I did just want to add one thing. So the building is 2 levels. A building can't be built without an elevator with 2 levels. So we will, the building is accessible to all.
$1 million for 17,000 square feet because we're in a rush because we're gonna lose the state funds from the grant when it actually should have been built back in 2018. Definitely for it. I wanna make, if you're going to build this library and we're gonna put $12 million into it, that's just the start of it. What happens when all of these different work orders come down? You know, for the changes and this, that, and the third. You might, it was initially supposed to be 8. Now they're saying it's 12. With the additional work orders, it might turn out to be $20 million. You don't know, you really can't say. So who's gonna have to pay for that? We are. You're saying, Mayor, that, you know, you mentioned about the library being in the basement. We don't want the library to be in the basement. We don't look at it as being in the basement. We need to remodel what we have right now and utilize the additional funds. We're taking money from the Ramsey Street project and putting it into just one project. What about the $4 million here? You got another $4 million here. You got another $4 million from the state. You need to break all that up, and you got to make sense when you're asking for us to vote on something as expensive as this because it wasn't done in the time that it should have been done. I read the email. No, we are not against the library. We are making everything, we want to make sure it makes sense what we're spending. This is why we're here. We get it, the plans were done. It looks beautiful on paper, but when you actually see the size of it, it's going to be the size of a matchbox, and before you know it, you're going to be $14, $15 million, maybe $20 million for, you know, the way that this work order works and how the renderings are done and things like that. When I reviewed them, I didn't see a lot of the information that was mentioned tonight on here. So we're talking about, you know, different rooms for different, you know, activities that will be taking place in the lab rooms and build up as high. Now you're gonna have a big tall building that was where the memorial building is at. Now you gotta go up even higher, okay, to a second floor that's blocking everything over there. I just don't see it. I just don't see it, and that's just my personal opinion. I just don't want people to think that we're against the library. We're against the cost.
So I respect, sorry, will you finish, Councilman?
Yes.
Yeah, so my concern is, as we talk about the rec center and the senior center, we need to visit some of those places too, because some of those places are beyond remodeling. Those things need to be torn down as well and then redone all over. So when you talk about the cost that it's going to be as well, to sit on $4 million and not do this library to me is a tragedy. But again, I respect everybody's opinion up here. We're getting ready to vote. I will allow the council members to continue to comment on it. But you know, for me, my personal opinion, as we express my personal opinions, we can renovate a whole lot of things in this town. And the only thing we do is put in the Band-Aid over stuff. Amen. And the rest, we need to have something to do. We talk about our tax dollars, where our tax dollars going to. We go ahead and renovate these things, and then another 2 years from now, we're talking about, well, we need another $2 million to improve the Band-Aid that we put over. We need to start thinking smart as a township and not being influenced by the things that we should.
On the current library as much as we need. There's definitely been an interest, and everyone is excited about that. I don't think anyone here is saying no to the project. I think part of the concern is that we have a fair amount of people in this town that live on a budget. And there are people in this town, we don't have housing, we don't have housing for them to live. This is something that we have to take into heavy consideration. There will be tax implications for this. And we want it to be the right tax implication. Let us pay for something we're gonna get the most value out of, and we're not saying no to the library project. No problem, we'll vote on this right now. I just think that instead of saying, as we heard from the CFO, we're not under the gun to get this done today. By the next meeting, if we get these answers, I think everyone up here is gonna vote yes. I think we have to make sure that we're getting the answers to some of these questions. We want the public to feel good about it. We want everyone to feel good about it. This is not a no project. It's, are we using the money fiscally responsibly? Is this the best place for it? If it is, then great, we'll do it. If the Ramsey project is really gonna be not our obligation, and the people who said that it won't be are willing to take that on and be liable for that, no problem, I support that too. For us to have a major issue, or sitting on a major issue, just because we move the money over and not take into account potential dangers, we will be in the news for that. That's not something that we want to just be flippant about. We've waited this long, the state is not telling us you need it by tomorrow. It's a couple weeks till the next meeting, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Let's get the answers, let's make sure everyone's comfortable, and we'll be happy to vote for this project.
Council President,
Yes.
that, excuse my voice, I'm a little hoarse, but, my day job, I'm an accountant for a construction firm. To answer Dave's question, when the state say they take it over, they're taking it over. The people at Hillside should not be concerning yourself with if something else is happening. That state has to take responsibility. When they finish the project, they get a surveyor, they have somebody come in and inspect the project.
Are they doing the whole street or just the area they fixed?
Well, right now they're fixing what's broken.
Right, so they'll survey.
So they're not gonna disturb any of the other property
Right.
and cause more damage.
I think that's.
But I understand what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
What if the other side falls in?
Right.
Then they have to take care of that because they disturbed their property. But I don't think the people of Hillside should be getting concerned with your taxes going up and worrying about the street caving in. Route 78 is a prominent piece of property. They're not gonna let those pillars fall through. As far as the library, I think we need it. I'm all over the state of New Jersey. I think Hillside is the only town that has the oldest. I'm like, everything is digital. I think we spend too much time looking at little things and not moving along. My motto is no excuses, only solutions. We should just start slow rolling. That's why the project more money from 2018 to now, 6 years.
That needs growth. Hillside needs growth. We don't have anything. Information. We have 2 weeks prior. I sent the library, okay, let's get information and worry about the next meeting. Well, there's 2 weeks. Let's work together. Let's get your questions answered, and let's move forward, please.
Or is it, you want to take a?
Any other questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Banano?
No.
Fierstein?
No.
Hyatt, excuse. Joyner?
Yes.
Saxon?
No.
Rios?
Yes.
X.
Yes.
Motion did not carry.
Thank you. Resolutions authorizing tax refund and overpayment. R24-066 authorizing the refund of premium tax sales certificates. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Get a second? I second it. Any questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Banano?
Yes.
Fierstein?
Yes.
Hyatt, excuse. Joyner?
Yes.
Saxon?
Yes.
Rios?
Yes.
X.
Yes.
Motion carried.
R24-067 authorizing emergency budget appropriations for a total sum of $54,000. Any questions?
Yes.
Councilwoman Saxton?
So I'm looking at, the resume for the grant writer for Bruno Associates. And I asked for all the backup for everyone, Bruno and Associates, and you also have Continuity Operations Group. And once I went into all of the information as it relates to the backup for the grant writer, I'm trying to understand how did we come up with this particular grant writer when this particular grant writer has only a total of about 16 clients, whereas Millennium Strategies had about 300 clients with a proven track record throughout Essex County and Union County for, they have about 300 clients, and they've done over almost $1 billion in grants. And they list just about everything that they've received grant funding for. So my question is, why, but we only have one grant writer with it of being able to get grant funds? So I'm very concerned about that. I know that this that said that they'll do it.
So, Councilwoman, I can only speak to why we have more than one law firm or more than one attorney on our list. So whether we have a huge contract where we award one attorney, or whether we have several, we're only going to pay for the work, right? So and the reason that we have a bunch of law firms is I pick law firms based upon an issue or a specialized issue or specialized branch or whatever. I can't speak to the grant writings, although it's obviously specific. I'm not sure if the CFO can, but it's specific to grant writing, so I'm not sure whether we actually need a pool, a list of different grant.
Question: Who is responsible for grant writer as opposed to Millennium Strategies? Because they were grant writers here in Hillside, and they brought in millions of dollars. So I'm trying to figure out, last year, you all had the Arby Group. Not sure if they applied, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But to bring on someone, and I mean, everybody deserves a chance, I get that. But we're in a financial crisis right now. So we need to be trying to get as much funding as we possibly can. We don't have the time to work with someone that has doesn't have a really proven track record of being able to get a high amount in grant funds. We need to work with a grant writer that we know has a track record, that's worked with us before, and that's going to be able to start, jumping on top of this, because we're really, and we haven't even had anyone selected to start. So I'm really concerned about who selected this particular individual or this company based off the track record, because it's not making sense.
Well, you can answer that, please.
Yes, BA and I reviewed all of the grant writers' applications. To hire more than one grant writer, they're all chasing the same buck, so that wouldn't be feasible, because they're all going to come with you with the same application. Hey, I have the CDBG grant. Hey, I have the same CDBG. So you only need one grant to do the resolution. So whenever we get a grant, we do a resolution to apply, accept, and insert. Last year we had to do those in-house. We have someone that will do that for us as part of their fee. We did have Millennium, and as I recall, there were some council members that didn't like the reports, that their format, we liked their experience, and we thought that they were the best candidate.
Well, I think it would be fair if you were to have added the other grant writers as well on here and allowed the council to make the determination based off of the backup documentation.
Councilman, just be clear, you have to delineate the duties here. So you can't pick a vendor and vote on that contract. That would be a conflict on your behalf. That separation of government. So the administration, your position to vote up and down. You can review all of the RFPs. They come to the clerk's office. But I mean, to say we want this one and then vote on it, that would be a conflict.
Any other questions? Any other questions from council members?
Sorry, Councilman, just real quick. Joanne, can you explain number 3 on this resolution? It's asking, should be
Temporary budget, so I can't certify the entire year now.
up to 41. So we're
Correct.
at 32.
I'm only certifying 7,500 in anticipation of us adopting the budget in April. And then we'll do a certify for the balance and do the contract.
Do you know if this grant writer's been in town before?
R24-070 awarding a cooperative contract to the Jersey Emergency Vehicle for an ambulance through the Sourcewell Cooperative Pricing System in an amount not to exceed $386 million, $179,000. Okay. Second.
Second.
capital project. This is the second avenue we're gonna have. So
Do you
have
think,
two.
are we gonna need more going forward, or we should be?
We should be good, man.
Okay, thank you.
This from that bond from last year, right?
Yeah, this is from last year.
Last year, okay. Thank you.
That's it. That's it.
Fierstein,
Yes.
Hyatt excused, Joyner,
Yes.
Saxon,
Yes.
Rios,
Yes.
X.
Yes.
Motion carries.
R 071. Authorizing an application to statewide insurance fund for 2024 risk control grant. You get a motion?
Banano,
Yes.
Fierstein,
Yes.
Hyatt excused, Joyner,
Yes.
Saxon,
Yes.
Rios,
Yes.
X.
Yes.
Motion carries.
R 24-072, authorizing award stipend to Keeper Atia Hall. You get a motion?
Motion.
Yes.
Hyatt excused, Joyner,
Yes.
Saxon,
Yes.
Rios,
Yes.
X.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And I'm pulling R 24-073 at this time. I'm not going over business, no correspondence. At this time, get a motion to open the floor for public comments.
Motion.
All in favor?
Fairview Place. Good evening. Gail Hunter, 1045 Fairview Place, Hillside, New Jersey. So happy to see my representative at the table. For information that, as Councilperson Rio said, it appears as if you should get it before we come to the meetings because it gets very bothersome hearing the information over and over and over. I do want to comment on the library, which is very close to my heart. I come from a community where I used to go to the library 2 or 3 times a month. I got a library card in Hillside in 2011, and I went back last week only because I needed to upgrade my card. It's to expand what is necessary to have a productive library. There are young people, you could have Girl Scouts there, you can have community meetings there, you can have IT classes for senior citizens, and yes, the senior building is not great. And I agree with Councilman President, there's no way you can expand it to make it meaningful and useful. I use the senior citizen as a book club member and as a member of the senior, a senior citizen. So I want to say to you that I think it's an abomination that in the great things that you would go against building something that's going to be useful and meaningful for the rest of this community. And I'm looking at you guys, and I see new people, and I have new hopes. But the foolishness that's been going on with this council for the last baby with the bathwater, propose something better. Propose something greater. But just stop. Stop fighting against each other in the community. And I'm asking you to open this up for a public hearing. Call the community, because I don't know where you, who you spoke to, Councilman, what's her name? But my daughter lives in that community, and she's very much for it, as are her neighbors behind we are in the Times. That library, that is not even a library. You can't even find a book in the library, because I tried to find a library. And as I said, I used to use Montclair Library 3 or 4 times. I'm a reader. I love to read. I borrow everything from the library, but that library has nothing. No, it doesn't have the potential to meet the standards that for 2024. You need to rethink that. Thank you.
Amen. She said everything.
Doubtful, Hawaiian.
Well, Hawaiian Thompson, F1480 Stanley Terrace. I do want to piggyback on Gail Hunter because I love, when my children were growing up, I stayed in Hillside Library. It was good for the little ones, but as time goes on, 21st century, it's not that great. I go to Springfield Library, they got a section for the senior citizens, they got game night. I'm like, whoa, they have a big space for meetings. What I do know, which is appalling to me, is that I give you credit because it seems like a lot of money. But when you ask the question, why didn't it happen in 2018? We need to ask the former councilmen people why they didn't happen in 2018. Because they were here. And because the political people, they stopped, they don't want to vote, they don't like the mayor, they don't want to vote, yay, nay. And now we have we're asking questions. But the second thing, when we talk about the rec center, that's been on the table for 1,000 years. When I was running for council, district leader, when I was running for the board, we're gonna fix the rec center, and it never happened. It never happened. I've been here 20 years, and I can stand here proudly and say, I'm in the rec center for that, but it's old. It's an old building. The state is gonna be responsible. And if not, we're gonna hold them responsible. And guess what? When the news come on, just like they picked up this time, because the news came out. Bottom line, no one wants to be in the news. No governor, no politician, no senator wants to say, hey, you did a botched job. And we don't hold them accountable. So I'm not, we want the library, but on the other end, you said you want an answer from the state. What we doing here? Fear, like Jordan said, we got to stop living in fear. I can only speak for myself. When I was a school board president, same thing. We don't want to feel. It's not going to happen. We still don't have the field. And guess what? I left as a school board president, and everybody danced on that field. The kids love the field. Now we got graduations in the field. But we went through the same thing. This over and over again. And then Lisa, I'm calling you out. I'm a public taxpayer. You know better. You know better, Lisa. I excuse Saxton and I excuse Dave. You and on and on. And for you to sit here and say you feel uncomfortable is a bad. But you've been here, Lisa. You've been talking about the library. And I'm sorry. I'm just saying. I love. But she knows I love her. Okay, I'm sorry, but I do love her. Lisa does. We don't love y'all, but we need a library. And we got a whole people
to do better. Oh, I'm Shalia White from 1439 Hiawatha Avenue, Hillside, New Jersey. And I'm here on behalf of the library. I'm here on behalf of my councilwoman over there. I'm here because there's nothing in the town. They're just starting to bring food chains in. You know, different kind of little stores in the streets. Everybody comes together. As far as each one of you up there, the ward that you serve, when we're having things in Hillside, I think every council person needs to be in their ward, bringing the people together, and all of us fellowshipping. Not sitting down somewhere complaining, talking about what ain't happening, and the reason why it's not happening, my kids ain't go to school here. Terrible, terrible, terrible. They need to be better educated in Hillside. They need to have more modern stuff going on in Hillside. The veteran, you tore their place down. The veterans come in here, I sit at the front desk. They say to me, they don't have veterans. Amen. My daughter is a young veteran, 29 years old. She spent 8 years in the military, in the Army. She came out a staff sergeant. She's disabled because of the stress that they gave her in the Army. But I'm here in the world because they fought for us. Millions of them died for us. And we need to help them. So I'm all about the veterans have a space in that library that they're going to build. It's coming. Oh, you put me down. I'm sorry. And I just want to say, it ain't no... That's right. That's right.
Hi, my name is Bridget Parrish. I'm new to Hillside. I come from West Orange.
Can you say that?
Address 1536 Highland Avenue, right down the street. Okay, so I've been here now for 8 years. So I'm kind of fairly new to Hillside. And the reason why I moved to Hillside, I heard a lot about Hillside. I moved from West Orange to Hillside because I heard a lot of good things about Hillside.
Give me 1 second.
Unfortunately, I don't have any children to go to Hillside.
You could take it.
I can take it.
Yeah.
I just noticed a lot of little things about Hillside. Like, I don't see much it's like very small. I don't see a lot of different businesses in Hillside, you know, so coming from West Orange, you know. So, she's a business, an entrepreneur. So I did hear at one council meeting that they said for us to start to invite people to try to open up business around here. So I'm trying to look for space for my daughter to see if she could come and have a space here inside. I've worked several times. I don't know if anybody knows my name, because I called them to public works. I spoke to Anthony's or okay, Samant. Okay, he sent me something telling me that the tree was a shade tree. The tree is actually pulling the whole sidewalk of my area. It's going up. He told me that it was a healthy tree. All the branches is falling constantly in my driveway. I spoke to the mayor once, twice. Okay, the last mayor before you got elected, her name was Garrison. She promised me that the tree would come down. She took 2 other neighbors' trees down that's next door, all the way up. Which I know the sidewalk is my, issue. But if I repair it, the tree is still up. It's just a mess. It looks terrible. I'm the only one on that side of the street that the sidewalks looks really bad. I've talked to Saxon before, and to know everyone, because I want to, be involved and get to know all you guys. And I told her if she wasn't going to do her job, right? And things that I come to you for, that I was going to let you know. And I said, I will vote for you. And I said, a lot of times, a lot of the guys come and knock on the door because you vote for me. And, and it's the last time you see them. I don't even know. Matter of fact, I didn't even know you won. I said, well, I had her sign on my lawn, and I didn't know that she won. So I want to let her know that congratulations, and I do want to get my tree issue solved. From, you know what I'm saying? Because it's been 8 years since it's been like that. And I can't do anything to my property. And then my next door neighbor, his is all smoothed down. He wants to help me out, but he said, I'm going to come back, and it's it. So I get to know everyone in here, okay?
Thank you.
Could you call the clerk's office with your address and talk to them?
Okay.
If I can address, Ms. Parrish real quick, I did mention that, tree issue to the business administrator months ago. And that goes back to, certain things falling on deaf ears. I mentioned that to her, a very long time, to address the issue. I will definitely keep following up, but I did my part, and I addressed it to the business administrator, Hope Smith. And she can tell you that I sat in her office and I talked about that issue, which is your issue, and a whole number of other issues. And still to date, nothing has been resolved.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? I just want to, I haven't been in a council meeting.
Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Lucy B. Shack, 1528 Hiawatha Avenue. Over 41 years I've been in this town. And I haven't been to the council meetings because I didn't know when they were, but Evangelist Shalia told me tonight. So I think the town should be informed when we're having these meetings so that everybody else can come also. And I want to address one thing that I thought was very rude. When a voting was going on, this lady, I don't know your name, but I saw the way you was clapping like that sarcastic clap. I think that's very unprofessional. And when the voting comes, I'm going to be voting, have people voting against you, whatever your name is. So I thought that was very rude. My issue is, since they dug up our streets, there has been no street cleaning on a regular basis. So I would like someone to address that for me. And I would like to have, they changed Hiawatha Hall, and I need somebody to address that. Andrea Hyatt came knocking on my door at 8 o'clock at night for me to vote for her. And now I come to the council meeting, and she's not even here, and I haven't seen her or heard from her since the election. So I need to know, how do we get in touch with our council people? And also for the library. I'm a senior citizen. I don't look like it, thank God. But there's no place to park at this library. I love the library. I am an avid reader. I read the Bible, but I read books. And there's no place to park at that library. I tried to get into those I got the handicap sticker. It didn't help me at all. Try to get into that 2 little parking spaces they have down there. You can't do it. I'm a real senior citizen when it comes to driving sometimes. I couldn't even get in that space, and the mud that was there, I wasn't getting out there in the mud, messing up my shoes. So they really need to address, I think that's a horrible thing, that you would vote down, $4 million? 12. No, the money that they were gonna give from the state, what was it?
$4 million.
$4 million. How would you let them lose $4 million? That's ridiculous.
Well, good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Faye Frierson, 72 Hillside Avenue. You, us, and our needs, and what we want. And clearly, we will have to get out there in another year, 2 years, whatever, and vote y'all down. Because if you cannot represent us in making sure that what we want for our children, for our future, and I have no children, and I want the library. Amen. Okay? You voted it down, saying take the $4 million and put it in the rec center. Where can you go? Center for $2 million. You guys don't get it together, we will definitely lose the money and won't have anything in Hillside. Union on Morris Avenue has a gorgeous library. Come on. Come on. We have got to do better. Stop being rude to each other. Stop being selfish and come together for the best for Hillside.
So I stand before you as a citizen, and I think that people often forget that I'm a citizen in this township too. That's right. They forget that my sons are 10, 13, and 17 years old. I don't have a reason to hurt the people of this community or this township or propose any passed over by the state because of political reasons. Because of political reasons. Because I would not sit here and pander to the people that have been hurt in Hillside for a long time. And I continue to speak about that. And you can support me in supporting our little township or not. Every last one of you put legislation out about that library, and you sat there and you either supported me or you vilified me for not making it come to fruition. And to sit here and say no again, it makes a liar out of you. So when you sit here and you lie to every last constituent that you campaigned on, because I put it together before the pandemic, before the construction costs increased, all of those things. And I was not supported by the council then, and obviously not now. Yeah. So you want to sit here and you want to campaign and kick my back in on all the things that I put before you, and you don't support me. You lied to the people that you rang the doorbell to and said you were going to move Hillside forward. Right. You lied to them. I have not lied to them because you know what? I live here. Y'all can sit here and you can communicate a bunch of selves and you can sit here and kick my back in, but at the end of the day, I'm always babies. And you know what? I own my home. I own my home. I pay my taxes and I live in my township. And if you're not going to support me as a leader, shame on you. Yeah. Shame on you because I supported you. I gave you money when you had none. I'm speaking to you, Lisa Bonanno. I gave you money when you had none.
We're gonna call a recess at this time. Point of order. I'm gonna call a brief recess at this time. I'm gonna call a brief recess at this time. Recess. 5-minute recess.